Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. You can't even really call it news anymore. It's some kind of Lucy in the sky with diamonds scenario on display every single day. Last night, the president of Ukraine showed up in the Congress wearing a green sweatshirt and cargo pants for maximum disrespect and demanded the United States continue to spend more on his country's border security than we spend on our own. That actually happened. It was a pretty cheeky performance if you think about it. But like Sam Bankman-Fried before him, Zelensky put a salesman's gloss on what otherwise might look very much like a scam. So the tens of billions of dollars you'll be sending me is not charity, Zelensky explained. It's not a gift. It's not like the $20 you gave the homeless guy at Union Station this morning for a quart of vodka. No, it's not that at all. This money, Zelensky said, is, quote, an investment. Ooh, an investment. So what exactly are the terms of this investment now that we're talking finance? When do we get our dividend checks? Well, Zelensky didn't specify that, though at one point in his speech he did provide a hint. Are the tens of billions of dollars you're sending me with no audit and no concrete proof of what I'm actually doing with it, will all that money be, quote, enough? Zelensky asked rhetorically. Answer? Not really. Not really. In other words, the return on our investment in Ukraine will be more pitches for more investments in Ukraine. Give me money so I can demand more money. That's what Zelensky promised us last night. And under certain circumstances, that might actually be fine. If nothing else, Zelensky is quite an audacious young entrepreneur with the kind of pluck and fast-talking shamelessness where you think, this guy's either going to wind up in prison or very rich, and maybe both. And there are times when you might want to throw a kid like that a few bucks just to see where it goes. You don't know. But unfortunately, this is not one of those times. The United States is flat out of money, and not just in some abstract PowerPoint presentation kind of way where we show you graphs of the national debt, and then we all pretend to be shocked and horrified. No. The United States is broke in a real way, meaning we can no longer afford to take care of our citizens. For example, 15 million Americans are about to lose their health care coverage under Medicaid. Now, these are people who got coverage during COVID, but will now lose that coverage thanks to a provision in the $1.7 trillion spending bill that's about to become law. As CNBC reports, governors of various states have informed the Biden administration that the cost of keeping all those people on Medicaid is, quote, too high. And it is high. Undoubtedly, it is high. How high is it? Well, over the last 3 years since COVID began, the federal government spent about $100 billion on extra Medicaid payments to Americans. That's a lot of money. How much is it? Well, it turns out that $100 billion is roughly what Congress has sent to our fast-talking Ukrainian friend in the sweatshirt in less than a single year. Just for comparison, just so you know what the priorities are in Washington. Your health care is just too expensive, sorry, and your border is too. Can't afford it. But for the strong man who runs Ukraine, no cost is too high. That's real. Does that frustrate you? Does hearing the details infuriate you as a citizen? Imagine if you went to Congress to plead your case. Maybe you showed up in a sweatshirt to tell them what you think. I'm an American citizen, you might say. I've lived here my entire life. I've paid taxes. I've followed the law. I've supported the system my grandfathers built because I believed in that system. And now, because corrupt ghouls like Janet Yellen at the Fed so completely devalued the U.S. dollar and so completely hollowed out our economy, I can no longer afford to go to the doctor as an American citizen. Please help me. So if you showed up on the floor of the House of Representatives wearing a sweatshirt and said that, what kind of response do you think you would get? Would the response look anything like this?
I assure you that Ukrainian soldiers can perfectly operate American tanks and planes themselves. Thank you for both financial packages you have already provided us with and the ones you may be willing to decide on. Your money is not charity. It's an investment in the global security and democracy that we handle in the most responsible way.
We're handling your money in the most responsible way. Take our word for it. Take our word for it. Ho, 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 they laugh. And they clap like seals. But here's the interesting thing. Almost every person in the room clapped like a seal. So no matter what that man said, send me more money, I command you, send me more money, we're taking care of it the most responsible ways. They applaud, all of them, almost like they have to. Now, there are 435 members of the House of Representatives, and they're Republicans and Democrats. And famously, they don't get along and they don't agree on anything. They can't even pass a budget because they disagree on everything, very bitterly. And yet, when a foreign leader shows up in cargo pants to tell them lies and give them orders, they all applaud. That's pretty weird behavior in a democracy if you think about it. The fractious debate we hear so much about doesn't exist. And in fact, looking at the screen last night, it didn't really look like a democracy, to be honest. It looked like this.
За доверие. Известно, она, наша партия, именно так и поступает.
Oh, yes, good point. Good point, sir. Ooh, we're so pleased you're here.